Hey guys, so I just wanted this again to be a quick video, so I don't have my intro or anything today, so the ways to support me are down below. That's all I'm gonna say on this point. I am wrecked for some reason energetically, so I'm doing the best that I can, but I feel again that this is important to get out. So I wanted to give you an update on where we are right now with the Travis Decker case that I got pulled into yesterday because there's been a lot unfolding and I always want to be transparent about how the energy shifts as we go. So when I first tuned into Travis yesterday, I was reading an active state of mind at that moment. And again, this is for entertainment purposes only, as you guys know. So I was reading an active state of mind at that moment. At that point, his energy was very clear. He was heavily contemplating what we call a suicide by cop because I heard suicide by cop in my head, meaning that he was hoping for a confrontation with law enforcement that would force him into a fatal outcome. I felt like this was the energy that because he's a vet and because he has that sort of background, that's maybe what he wanted because he's sort of a coward as well. That was a live intention that I picked up as I was unfolding at the time and tracking him. So this was in his thought process. Since then, the energy has shifted very strongly. I was thinking about it today that they haven't found him. And based on both psychic and tracking astrological charting that I've been working on, it's very likely that Travis has now completed suicide, unaliving independently without police involvement, most likely using a weapon. The location energy continues to pull towards the Badger Mountain corridor, where I believe he positioned himself for a possible confrontation, but ultimately chose to take his own life before that confrontation occurred. And I'll explain more about the location in just a minute. So I want to explain something for those who may not fully understand how this works. And if you don't understand how my gifts work, I just made a great video describing everything. When you're doing live tracking like this, you're reading a person's active mental state as it's happening. So when you're dealing with unstable individuals who are collapsing mentally, their intent can shift rapidly. And he was sort of all over the place. You know, he had one idea and then shifted to another was how it kind of came across. What I read yesterday was the genuine psychological plan in play. But as reality set in, the plan collapsed and his action shifted to unaliving without law enforcement directly involved, in my opinion. From what I can feel of the energy and what the astrology is stating. Now, Travis is the type of offender, and I want to talk about this because, as you guys know, I'm going into the archetype killers, right? And I'm trying to explain that there's different archetypes and different energies. He is known as the revenge proxy filicide, narcissistic collapse subtype. So what this means is rather than attack his ex directly, he attacked it through the child as a proxy, as an indirect way to destroy what he could no longer control. And again, as you guys know, as a psychic sleuth, I like to go into the psychology of this, psychically, astrologically, etc. He experienced a control collapse, meaning that once the relationship failed and he lost perceived power, he emotionally unraveled. He then entered a narcissistic rage spiral where he was driven by revenge, humiliation, and the desire to emotionally annihilate others as a punishment. The contemplation of suicide by cop I originally picked up as part of this profile. They often fantasize about dramatic exits and how they like to see things would play out, but they may not follow through when reality hits. In the end, collapse resulted in self-inflicted death, as with most of these same archetypes as we've seen in the past, rather than police confrontation. I mean, it could be either, but that's what I'm picking up, or that's what I feel. And again, I'm not God. I don't know everything, but this is what I feel. This type of offender is extremely dangerous because their mental state can shift moment to moment, which is exactly what we've seen play out here. So as far as location is concerned, my assessment is that Travis positioned himself in an elevated area, likely within the near Badger Mountain corridor, where he may have intended to stage a police confrontation, but ultimately self-inflicted when the encounter did not occur. My updated estimation suggests that his body may be located in a natural terrain, depression, dip, drainage, or embankment adjacent to one of the ridgelines or trail spurs along the Badger Mountain corridor, with approximately 8 to 12 miles from the original flight path. This area includes partial tree or brush cover, potentially obscuring visual contact, while remaining relatively near the current search grid perimeter. Ongoing canine search efforts may be detecting intermittent scent drafts depending on the wind shifts. because I have repeatedly perceived auditory impressions of dogs barking, hounds when they're on a scent. That could also be that he's going to be found soon. Consistent with scent tracking and hounds in my observations. I did resubmit this tip today. Sorry, as I said, my head is hurting, so I'm having a little bit of a hard time talking for some reason. I hope I'm okay. I don't know if this is an energetic thing or what, but I've been struggling for the last few days. I don't think people realize how much I'm doing behind the scenes, and although I have this stuff and I haven't gotten it out, it's a lot. So, that's why this video is kind of a little rushed, and I just want to get the information out there. So, I wanted to share the full picture with you guys because this is an extremely complex cases, and this is also why I continue tracking cases as energy evolves. Because with unstable offenders, intent and outcome don't always perfectly match moment to moment. There's always free will involved. So thank you for your support, and I'll continue to keep you updated as the search teams continue their work, or you guys watch what's going on. You may know before I do, because many of you, I hear updates before I see them myself. So just wanted to put that out there, and thank you as always.